Good morning, everyone. You guys know me. I'm Nancy Ganzekaufer, business coach and body language trainer, and I am here with my virtual CFO, Megan Dahle. Hello, Megan.
Good morning, Nancy.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. It's a gorgeous day. I've got lots of things in the fire. It's ready to go.
Yay. Okay. I'm a little sluggish this morning, but I'm kicking it up with you. So we're going to get some energy and talk about smart financial decisions for long-term success, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 10-year financial decisions and what we should be focused on. And I think it's so hard to ignore. It's easy to ignore this, I should say. Hard to pay attention to the decisions we're making today actually affect the future. Am I off? Is my mouth off from my motions?
Yep. You're good on my
Okay,
end.
looks like it to me. So, all right. So tell us where we start with this one.
Okay, the first thing that I would do is segment the financial decisions that I'm making for myself and for my business, as if you are two separate entities. Just reminding yourself that you are a steward of your business. In the long term, we also need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. So, when facing decisions that have a big personal impact but are risky on the business side, like are you cashing out a 401k to do something on your business? And how do you know that that is going to prosper, right? Like there are so many sacrifices that people tend to make for themselves that affect their long term while they're trying to make a good long term decision on their business. So, just being fully aware of how the difference in that decision is for your business versus how it's affecting you personally.
That's a big one, I think, especially for the people starting a new business or ramping up their business and they're trying to put money into it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They could be pulling from their personal side when they shouldn't be. So, in other words, don't ignore the personal side when you're making these business decisions. Make sure you're considering both sides and the
Absolutely.
impact. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. hmm
All right. And what else?
Okay, so like when we're talking about the personal versus the business side of things, um, when you are planning for your business success, make sure that when you are planning on the business side, what's going to happen, it's not just about break even. It's not about getting by. It's not about constant growth. We need to make sure that the business is serving you in those three ways that we talk about with the profit of paying you, which
Right.
includes not just your salary, but things to put away for retirement, things for savings, those different goals, like putting that amount of money into your business plan of how much you want to take out of it. And of course, the protection of the business is always the second one, making sure that you are protecting the structures that you have and the gains that you've made. And finally, of course, having enough in your business to get you through a growth period when it's time to go get some growth. Which can be very expensive. And there's a whole lot of people who have very selfish opinions on how you should be growing. So,
Yes.
the best way to do that is to educate yourself on your business so that you have a thorough understanding. So, it's very easy no and a very easy yes when different opportunities present themselves to you.
Something comes to mind when you're talking. So I keep all my bank accounts, personal and business, in the same bank. So when I wake up on any given day, I can look up my total dollar amount in all the bank accounts, right? So I do profit first, so I have all of them, and then my personal savings, whatever.
Yeah.
And over the year, 2 years that I've paid attention more with your help as to what I'm taking out of the business and how I'm moving it around into different buckets, the money total is the same, let's say, but the where it's sitting in my life is in a different place, and it's in a place that makes more sense for me.
And how does that feel comfort wise?
It's amazing because when you think about it, you're like, okay, I'm paying myself, but where should that pay go? And should there be extra coming out of the business for a retirement fund of some kind and all that? So I'm moving around the assets in a way that's serving my personal life better and also protecting my business. So what I'm telling everybody is what Megan's saying works. And it's not necessarily changing my bottom line or my net worth, me and my business combined, but it's moving it around in a way that's serving me better.
Yeah, yeah, and some of that understanding, and I'm not asking people to go out and get an accounting degree. Don't do that.
Don't
That's
do
actually not going to help. That's not going to be all that helpful, other than maybe making using QuickBooks easier. What really helps when seeing your business in your mind's eye, if you can think about like what is the minimum that I need to do to break even, and how long is that sustainable? And if I were going to have more capacity to do more? Is that because I have people asking for it? Or is it because I just feel like I need more capacity? Like if you have a lot of people asking and you just don't have room for them, by all means grow your capacity. But if you're sitting like still looking for clients, but you think you should be doing more, becoming more efficient, putting in processes, that's probably not the right answer, because then you're going to have excess capacity.
Right.
You need to make growth. So just understanding what move to make when, and how pulling one string over here might affect this factor over here, and being able to see how those strings are connected, of even if this is a good decision now, if it has a bad outcome, will I be okay? There are just things you cannot factor into when you make a decision. COVID. Let's just use the example that is being used over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, who
Right?
could predict COVID would happen when you were making business
Right.
decisions? You never predict that.
A real estate boom, a real estate bust. Like so many different things could happen by examining the decisions that you're making and saying in 5 years, in 10 years, I will still say that was the right decision based on the scenario that we had at the time.
So do you think it's a problem that people just don't project forward?
I think people, especially when it comes to the money side of their business, they have a lot of insecurities of not being good at numbers or whatever it is. So they keep their head down and go make more sales and keep doing the things that have always kind of worked for them, because they don't necessarily know what questions to be asking. Right? Like all of these business books and everything are not necessarily written for the solopreneur. They're not written for the small business.
Right.
So it's hard to get the information that you need in order to see your business in your mind's eye and create that framework for yourself in a way that makes sense to you, without trying to like take that square peg and shove it through that round hole. It
Right.
just doesn't work. So having that, big for me, I'll just speak from my own experience, big for me was having that hour, 2 hours in the morning of no screens, just me and my thoughts. And sometimes it's in the evening, whatever, just me and my thoughts in a notebook, and thinking through things very consciously, right? Making the concerted effort, not waiting for an epiphany to just come to me in the middle of me trying to work out a great worksheet. It's not going to happen that way. You have to make a conscious decision to contemplate your business.
And it doesn't happen when you're walking and listening to music and walking and listening to podcasts and walking and talking to a neighbor or whatever, or to your friend on the phone. That silence and that thinking it through is really what everybody needs. There's just so much noise now that people don't even like know how to think it through sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not going to until you start practicing, right? It's gonna be like your mind is going to wander a lot. So give yourself 5 minutes to contemplate your business. And then maybe in a month from now you start at 10 minutes, just because your brain is going to wander. A pen
Yes.
and a paper helps with that immensely.
What does?
A pen and a paper.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I use. Yep. I'm writing while you're talking. I still go down to pen and paper to do the brain dump. And then sometimes the epiphanies come to you, and especially when it comes to financial decisions for yourself for the future.
Yep. Just writing that stuff out. And sometimes you forget what your thought was or what your idea was or the thing that you were contemplating. And so that pen and paper really gets it somewhere where you can get back to it. And it just helps with that thinking process.
Okay. All right. So what else do they have to consider?
Okay, now we're going to do short-term versus long-term. You have some great speaking points here, and I want to talk about that one.
Okay.
Because there's so many promises out there of like, if you do this thing in 3 months, you're going to 3x your revenue. Well, hang on a second. That might not be what you need 3 times. Even if that was successful and 3x your revenue, can you handle 3x your revenue at this point? Short-term gains. When you are looking at a particular type of short-term gain, is it something that is going to get you out of a hole that you really need to do right now because it gets you out of a very tough spot? Sometimes that's the right answer.
Right.
If you're looking at like, okay, I am going to go and for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to hit hard on X, Y, and Z because I want to do this one thing this one time. Or is that going to become a part of your model? If you take these decisions and you've reflected against the background, if your background is the change that you want to be for your clients. If it's your values and your morals and your core, that driver inside of you, and you use that and you hold up a decision and you try to see the light of your vision behind it, the light of your values behind this decision, and you can't see it because it's blocking, then that's probably the wrong decision. But if you're looking at a short-term versus long-term decision, you can see some light pouring through it. Like, I see how that serves my value. I see how that serves my clients. I see how that makes, brings joy. If that's something that's important to you, that's going to bring joy to my clients, great practice. It's going to be a great practice for your business, because either you're going to make this decision and it's either going to go poorly or it's going to go well. If it goes poorly, you're going to learn a lesson. Is that lesson going to be valuable? Is it going to be worth what you put into it? Or if it goes well, is that something that you can sustain, that you can keep doing over the long term? And how does that fit into your tenure?
Right.
There's one more thing that I want to touch on this. When you are looking at a 10-year decision, when you are looking at the vision that you have for yourself down the road, I want you to look at that vision in terms of other people's eyes, right? Like, how is this affecting not you personally in your financial well-being? That's definitely part of it. But can you see how this is a benefit to your employees and to your clients and to your community? How do they fit inside this long-term vision in this long-term decision that you're making?
So not just considering your financial health, but considering all the pieces of your world, all your collaborators, your clients, your employees, everyone surrounding you in your business. You think, well, is this decision going to benefit them? Are they not going to be benefited from it? And add that to your decision. It's not just
Very
about
much.
you.
Yeah, it's like, what do I want for them, right? Like, it's right. If I made $1 bajillion, let's say I made $1 bajillion, and my vision was all about me and my car, me and my vacations, me and I da. If that became my reality like that, I won the lottery, boom, that's my reality. Next month I have all this money and me. What happened to all of those relationships that are precious to me now?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What do I want for other people? How do we fit together as a community?
Well, and I think this comes into one of our points too, that you have to kind of be flexible, pliable, be able to shift gears without such emotional trauma. Like that, if you made a mistake or you made a decision that didn't go exactly the way you thought, it's okay. What did you learn from it? How do you shift your perspective on it? How do you modify your decisions for that moment in time?
Yes.
Because even though we're planning for 10 years, we don't know everything that's going to happen over that 10 years.
Yes, definitely great to have a direction down the road. That's where I want to go, but please enjoy it on the way, right? Like,
Yes.
Even the bad decisions, can we enjoy our lessons? Do we have the community? Have we built the community of support that, hey guys, I made a toughie and I'm going to need some help getting out of this. We're going to need to work a little bit extra hard, or even discussing those decisions with your community, the people that you trust, with that information to get that different perspective. What am I missing here? What's like entrepreneurship is so low.
Oh, your volume just went weird. Hold on.
Oh, you know what? My microphone's been way over there this whole time.
Well, yeah, you were low, but I raised my volume, and then you went even lower, and I was like, oh, what's going on?
Oh my. Yeah.
No, but I think you're right. Like, I have a team at this point. Not everyone has a team, but when we change something, sometimes I ask everyone at the team meeting, what do you guys think of this decision that I'm thinking of making? Right. And I get everyone's opinion. So I think it's great. I don't know. Did you consider? And suddenly they're considering themselves, my whole culture, and going, is this a good decision? And I'm getting help making that decision. And I think it's so important, if you have a support system, like you have a virtual CFO, or you have a business coach, or you have a team that you really trust, or entrepreneurs that you have a mastermind group with, or however you network. It's important to run some of these big financial decisions by other entrepreneurs, I feel like.
Yes.
But not in a Facebook group. That's not what I'm saying.
Please, not in a Facebook group. You're going to get so many differing opinions, and most of them aren't valid.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that everyone helps each other, but usually there's not enough detail to give the right advice all the time. So I always say, take it with a grain of salt, and then sit with yourself and make the best decision, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right.
And so the
Anything?
last piece that we have here, this comes back from my debate days, high school debate days, is this category that we had called inherency. And it's what is structurally in place right now that's going to prevent this from being a good decision, right? Like I already work a 40-hour work week, but I want to do this one thing, and it promises to only be 2 hours a week. Where am I going to fit that 2 hours? If Are you just adding? Do you have a lack of time? Do you have a lack of money? Do you have a lack of like ideas? Like, what is it that is going to make this decision not successful if I don't do it right? Is there something in my life now that I can say no to, eliminate, get rid of to make space for this new decision?
Yes.
And sometimes like you just got to take out the trash, like doing an expense audit. I get a little excited about expense audits.
It's true. An expense audit, and then decide if what you're wanting to do is worth more than what you're currently spending something
Yes.
on, right?
So go see what you need to say no to before you say yes to this.
And I'm going to give a good example of this. I think it's a good example. So I've been wanting to come out with a podcast for a very, very long time. But at the same time, I'm trying to reduce my work hours. So how do you add to my plate a podcast, which is quite an undertaking? Most people are just podcasters if they're going to do a
Yeah.
podcast. And we brainstormed for a very long time, probably about 2 years, until we finally figured out a way. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a very early vision to my future but yeah, we will be coming out with a version of a podcast.
Can I celebrate this for a minute? Because like, I love that it took you 2 years.
Everything takes me, I will be honest, my staff, when I was an art consultant, I had this woman working for me who was amazing. Her name was Barbara. And I would like start something new in the business. And she'd say, that was 2 years ago that you made that decision, but it took you 2 years to figure out how. And we found that I always had a pattern. It was 2 years from when an idea came into my head to when, I mean, big decisions, like we're talking about big financial decisions, 2 years until I actually implemented them, till I could figure out how all the pieces could fit into place. I'm not overstressing myself, the staff. It's not more time, less time. So it is important to take the time to make these big decisions and not rush into them.
Yeah, and like all the time you're like taking spaghetti out of the way and you're trying to find that arrow in the spaghetti pot. So you're throwing arrows instead of the spaghetti. Like I'm on year whatever it is of writing my book and just making sure that it's very focused and it's not trying to throw everything in there. I think there's a lot of quality to be found in time investment like that and just letting decisions cook.
Yeah, fester, cook, grow naturally, as opposed to forcing them to grow.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah.
All right. So what engaging question can we ask our viewers today about, like, literally, I know for me, I really did not flow my money properly from my business to my personal life and think about it as a joint effort till many, many years after I ran my businesses, right? So I'd love to know how many people actually pay themselves and let them enjoy the benefits of their business,
Yes. It
right?
might be a really personal question to say, what do you pay yourself? I know that's totally fine if you want to answer that. At the same time, if you want to say, this is what my business has allowed me to do, like personally with my family, I want to
Yeah.
know
Well,
that.
here's a really simple question. Do you let your business pay you? Do you
Ooh,
let your business pay you?
put
Yes
that on a
or
t-shirt.
no?
I love that.
Okay.
I
Do
love
you
it.
let your business pay you? And that can be, you only have to, if you want to participate, which we encourage everyone to contribute, is just to say yes or no. Do you let your business pay you? But when you think about, does your business pay you? Think about it in a lot of different ways, right? Does it pay you in benefits? Does it pay you in discretionary income that you're putting through your business? Does it pay you through salary or profit sharing? How do you pay yourself through your business? So I'd love to know the answer to that from everybody.
Me too. Me too.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Megan and I will see you next month for our money chat. Always such an important topic. If anyone is struggling with anything financial, in their business and you have a question and you just can't get the answer to it, post it below, because this is something that Megan and I can do on our next live or one of our lives and answer that question directly for you. So thank you, Megan, as always.
You are so welcome, Nancy. It's always great to see you.
All right. See everybody soon. Bye, everyone.
I like that one.